Today we are going to start lesson 10, that is simple past tense. Simple past tense. In the previous class we studied about simple present tense. Now we are going to study simple past tense. And at the end of this class you will be able to know what is simple past tense and what are the uses of simple past tense, in which conditions we can use we can frame the sentences in simple past tense. So let us study, dear children. We use the past tense to indicate an action completed in the past. We through this timeline will try to understand, dear children. A is about the past, present and future. C is A is indicating the past action, point B is indicating the present time, and C is indicating the future time. Now dear children, we are talking at this moment. In the present we are talking, I went to London. If I say, I went to London. Dear children, here the word went indicates the past action. The verb went tells us that the action of going to London took place at some time in the past. Now we are talking in the present. I went to London means action of going to London took place sometime earlier, took place in the past. So past tense always indicates an action completed in past. Okay, dear children, I think it is clear to you what is simple past tense. Once again I will repeat, a verb that refers to past time is said to be in the past tense. The verbs that refers to past time is said to be in past tense. The simple past tense tells us the action done in past. Simple past tense tells us the action which took place in the past. And through the example I explained you, I went to London. Here the verb went indicates that the action took place sometime earlier in the past. Now we are going to study different uses of simple present tense. When do we use simple present tense? Number one, to talk about a past event. When we are talking about any past event which already took place, which already happened, we use simple past tense. Let us see the example. I studied in Lucknow University. Studied. The verb studied indicates the past action. Action already took place in the past. I studied in Lucknow University. To indicate past habits. We were habitual to do something in the past. Maybe not now. So, to indicate past habits, we use simple past tense. Let us see this through this example. As a child, I always woke up early. Woke indicates the past action. As a child, when I was a small child, I used to wake up. Okay. But maybe now it is not my habit. It is indicating the past habit. As a child, I always woke up early. And let us discuss the third use of simple past tense. To narrate a story. Dear children, whenever we narrate any story or we write any story, we always write it in simple past tense. Story is also always said in past tense, in simple past tense. How? Let us see through this example. Once upon a time there lived a king. Likewise, we use past tense to narrate a story, and we'll study about different forms of the verbs in simple past tense now. Now dear children, through this table we learn different forms of verbs in past tense. In simple past tense, which forms of the verbs do we use? Auxiliary verbs are of three types: be verbs, have verbs and do verbs. The forms of be verbs we know is them are was, were. But in past tense we use was and were. The forms of be verbs was and were we use. The forms of have verb had we use in past tense, and from do verbs we use did in past tense. Clear? Was, were, had or did we use in simple past tense. Dear children, you can see here on the table I when the subject is I, he, she, it or any singular subject. We use was. I, he, she, it or any singular subject, we use the verb was. When the subject is you, we, they or any plural subject, we use were. Is that clear? With singular I, he, she, it or any singular subject, we use was, and you, we, they or any plural subject, we use were. Then come on the forms of have verbs. We use verb had in past tense when the subject is I, we, you, he, she, it, they or any singular or plural subject. For both we use had. When the subject is singular or plural, in both the cases we use the verb had in past tense. And the same way, form of be verb, that is did, which is used in past tense. And when the subject is I, we, you, he, she, it or they, or any singular or plural subject, we use did. Is that clear to you, dear children? These are the different forms of the verbs we use in past tense. And always remember, the action verbs are always used in second form. The second form of the verb we use, which is also called past tense form. If you remember, I have already explained to you the different forms of verbs. That is base form, S or ES form, ing form, past tense form and past participle form. These are the 5 forms. And dear children, I told you these 5 forms of the verbs are very important. In learning tenses, there should be proper subject and verb agreement. According to the subject only, we are using the different forms of the verbs. And dear children, in simple present tense we studied that we use is, am, are, isn't it? Have, has, do, does. All these verbs we use. And in simple present tense for action verbs we use either the base form or S or ES form of the verb according to the subject. That I have already explained you. The same way, different forms of verbs we use in simple past tense also. When the verbs are expressing the state of being or the possession, we use all these verbs. Or when we changing the sentence into interrogative form, we use do, does, did, isn't it? But in past tense we use only did. In present tense we use do or does. That I have already explained you, my dear children. So always remember this table, learn this table thoroughly, different forms of the verbs which we use in past tense. And verbs of action, we always use the second form of the verb in simple past tense.